So, how many of you remember, or were here for the first message in this series? And you remember me talking about Maria Nemeth?
Yes.
All right. Well, here's some words that I shared that day because I wanted to put it back in context, especially for those who weren't here. Maria wrote, "I gambled and lost. I invested $35,000 on an unsecured promissory note to a man I had known for 6 months. It was not even my own money. I had borrowed it from a family member. The man to whom I had loaned this money promised I would get a 30% return on my investment. The money was supposed to be used to make short-term loans to buyers who needed to close real estate escrows. It was a fraud. There were no escrows. Within a few months, all the investors lost everything." So Maria complained to her friend, Rita. If you were in Rita's position, what would you have said to Maria when she was complaining to you about losing this money and being scammed? Anybody want to raise your hand and share what you would say? Nobody's read the book, right? If you haven't read the book, you don't know what to say. Well, a lot of times, a lot of us, and the way I was raised, we would have been what we call in the coaching world, unconstructively nice. Oh, you poor thing. Making the person a victim, right? You poor thing. Oh, I'm so sorry, that's terrible. How horrible that that person did that to you. You poor victim. But Maria's friend Rita used to be the head of human resources for the whole state of California. And so she worked a lot in recovery rooms and recovery work. And so Maria said, "This guy just took my money." And Rita said, "He took your money? How did he take your money?" "Well, he had me write a check. He promised I would see a 30% return on my money in 3 months." Who wrote the check? Who wrote the check? Who signed the check? Yeah. See, Maria wasn't a rescuer. Maria wasn't unconstructively nice. Rita. Say that again. Rita wasn't a rescuer. Rita wasn't unconstructively nice. Rita was a coach. And so that's what today's topic is. Going from rescuer to coach. And so we asked, what's in it for me? And every week of this series, it's been pretty much the same thing, but I have a new thing to add to it today. Dr. Sharon Stanley says in her research that the thoughts we hold are replicated in our body, in our body chemistry, and in our neurophysiology. Does that sound like anything we've sung here today? Like, what did we sing? Our thoughts are prayers, right? Okay. So Candace Pert, who was a neuroscientist and pharmacologist, said, I love this one, take a deep breath. Your body is your subconscious mind. What was I thinking? Okay. So in Unity, we know our thoughts are prayers. And the original words to that song that we had to change because some people don't like to be careful, but the words were, be careful what you're thinking. And I like those words so much better because they hold me accountable. They say, be careful, watch out. If I was getting ready to walk out on a ledge, you might thinking, be careful because you care about me, right? Be careful. I love those words. Be careful what you're thinking. And then beyond our thoughts, and I heard this yesterday, Javiera and I went to a workshop at the Center for Spiritual Living called Leadership as Spiritual Practice. It was a wonderful, wonderful workshop. And somebody said that their goal was to realize that, the intention was to make everything I do a prayer. Well, of course, I had to rewrite it because everything we do is a prayer. We don't have to make everything we do a prayer, but what we do have to do is realize that not only everything we think, but everything we do is a prayer. Think about that next time you do something, right? So, in relation to this series on the empowerment dynamic, we can ask ourselves, is my prayer, is what I'm doing victim or creator? Is my prayer, is what I'm doing persecutor or challenger? Is my prayer, what I'm doing, rescuer or coach? So let's look at the rescuer. Anybody ever been a rescuer besides me? I mean, anybody here? If you don't raise your hand, you're lying, okay? I'm not gonna, sugarcoat it, So, what a rescuer does is a rescuer tells somebody what to do, okay? Whereas a coach asks questions and brings it out of the person, the answer out of the person. A rescuer reinforces the powerlessness of poor me, right? The poor me attitude of a victim. Whereas a coach views others as being creative and resourceful and sees each person as a creator. So let me give you a little bit more details about a rescuer. You may see yourself in it. Don't worry, I see myself in it too. But we can get over it. We can be coached. A rescuer is any person that helps a victim really relieve the pain of victimhood by increasing their sense of powerlessness. I don't think we consciously know that when we rescue, but that's what we're doing. Or a rescuer is any activity, such as an addiction, that serves to help a victim relieve the pain of victimhood by numbing out. Right? That's what we do, whether it's food or alcohol or drugs or workaholism or, all those different isms. We use them to relieve the pain. And besides that, if I'm rescuing you, I don't have to do my own stuff. Isn't that handy? How convenient, right? Church lady would say. Remember church lady? How many is old enough to know church lady? Okay. Saturday Night Live. 20 years ago. Okay. So an example that came up in our Wednesday night study group, we've been doing a study group on this book, and the next class will not be this Wednesday, but next Wednesday. And somebody was bringing up that as a supervisor, they were explaining to an employee the details of how to do something, And so, in that regard, the person was a rescuer. There's a certain amount of supervision required, but how much more empowering to coach that employee to figure it out on their own? How much more empowering would that be? So otherwise, the employee is dependent on the supervisor and doesn't believe they can do it themselves without that, micromanaging help. A coach, on the other hand, supports, assists, and facilitates a creator, not a victim, but a creator. Treats somebody as a creator instead of a victim. in clarifying and manifesting the creator's desired outcome. What does the creator want here? And they support, assist, and facilitate them clarifying it so they can manifest it. A coach helps creators perceive new possibilities and dare to dream, dares them to dream. A coach helps a creator perceive new possibilities. I said that one already. A coach acknowledges and helps leverage the power and capabilities of the creator. And a coach helps a creator clarify outcomes, accurately and honestly assess current reality. Sometimes we need a reality check. Identify resources and create solutions. And then a coach holds the creator accountable for taking the steps necessary to move forward. I remember Maria Nemeth when I met her 21 and a half years ago. That's when she confronted me with the fact that I might have a problem with alcohol. I was sure she was wrong, but let me tell you, 21 and a half years of not having a drink, she was right. And I am glad she was a coach and not a rescuer. Yeah, thank you. But, you know, now I forgot what I was going to say about Maria. But Maria, yeah, she is a coach in the greatest sense of the word. And when we get to the how-to part of the message, I'm going to tell you, give you some of her tools. Now, the person I thought of when I was working on today's message was the best supervisor I ever had. Her name was Annette Perkins. I worked for her at the Consolidated Civilian Personnel Office in Pearl Harbor in the 70s. And when I was just a child, you know. And the reason she was the best supervisor I ever had is she would give me something I had never done before. And she'd say, here, I want you to do this. And I'd go, I don't know how to do this, you know, how do I do this? And she'd say, well, go to your desk and work on it, and when you get stuck, come talk to me. Imagine how surprised I was when most of the time I didn't have to go talk to her. I was able to figure it out. So she didn't rescue me from my uncertainty, from my fear, from my doubts, but she believed in me. And so she sent me to my desk to figure it out, and I did. In each of these shifts that we make, from victim to creator, from persecutor to challenger, from rescuer to coach, there are thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that we can be attuned to see what role we're in. So the thoughts of a rescuer are, I must save others from harm. Okay? If I do good, I will be worthy. And I feel so sorry for this victim. Right? Those are the thoughts of a rescuer. A coach, on the other hand, thinks people are resourceful and creative. I trust others and their abilities. Wow, what a difference to be treated as a, you know, what a difference to be a coach rather than rescue. A rescuer feels fear if they're not needed. They feel persecuted when a victim doesn't accept their advice. And they feel superior to the victim. And this is the one that's real subtle that a lot of us don't see. I call it arrogance, because it was pointed out to me, my arrogance was pointed out to me. That when I feel that you can't take it, if I tell you the truth, if I'm direct with you, I'm being arrogant and superior. Okay? Whereas a coach is compassionate and engaged, fulfilled and reflective, and supportive and non-attached. You know, they don't they're an equal. They really believe in you and that you can take it. And I learned from a guy named Jake Eagle how important it is to not just receive compliments from a person, but if all you do is tell me how wonderful I am, I love it, but I don't quite trust it, unless maybe there's a time you've told me when I maybe could have done something a little better. Now, let's not have an open season on Brendalyn, because I've said this, but your credibility goes up, because then I can see you're telling me the truth. And I can trust that what you're saying, I can trust it a lot more. So then there's the behaviors. The behavior of a rescuer is they jump in to save the day, right? And they intervene, in other words, on behalf of the victim to save them from perceived harm. A rescuer fosters dependency and indispensability by relieving the victim from taking responsibility. In 12-step rooms, we call that enabling. Okay? A rescuer is an enabler who allows this, rescues the person from feeling the impact of what they've done, or experiencing the impact of what they've done. For example, an enabling spouse, if married to an alcoholic who's really hit bottom and comes home drunk and throws up and passes out in the middle of it, a rescuer cleans it up. A coach lets them sleep in it and lets them wake up to it the next morning. It's also called tough love. Okay? A rescuer may sacrifice the truth to protect others. Don't you just love it? Those unconstructive lies that we're told to protect us, because after all, we can't take it. And they shield others from consequences of their actions. Again, an enabler, the person who cleans up the person's vomit instead of letting them wake up in it and clean it up themselves. So, a coach, on the other hand, uses inquiry. They ask questions to help others and themselves, because we can coach ourselves as well, to develop clarity and vision. A coach empowers and develops. And a coach encourages and provides positive reinforcement. So, what a difference to shift from rescuer to coach. So I wonder, how have you been a rescuer? Anybody willing to share? Keep all those hands going out. Yes?
Well, a 30-year marriage pretty much summed it up to me.
I'm sorry. Yeah, my wife passed away last June, so I've been reflecting about that, but what you're saying really at home, and then I realized that much of our relationship was built on, in my particular case, she would clean up my vomit. Either emotional vomit or, in some cases, literal vomit. And I became very dependent upon that. And as such, I stayed like an 11-year-old. And this is the first time in my life, which is why I'm cursing the universe, that I have to clean up my own vomit. And talk about tough love, boy. So.
Yeah. Thank you for the courage to share that, the vulnerability. Yeah. Anybody else been a rescuer or had the experience of being rescued?
I think with my mother growing up, because I kind of would teach her and try to change her growing up. I learned in my adulthood not to try to change people at all. And when I interact with her, just to see her as empowered. And it's that she has the capability, she's empowered to make her own choices in her life. And I'm not, really, that's her free will. So respect for freedom, like let her learn on her own, the things that she goes down the lesson pathway, let her learn those lessons.
Right. Thank you, and happy Mother's Day to your mother that has a son that sees her that way.
Well, I just want to add one thing.
Now that I'm responsible for cleaning up my own vomit, I throw up a lot less.
That's great. Okay, so what about, well, that sort of covered it, any other examples of how you've been a rescuer or how you've been rescued and how it didn't serve you at all. I remember when the weekend, I remember it was in August. It was probably, let's see, my last drink was on August 9th. And that was a Friday night, so 10th, 11th, 12th, 14th. Probably the 14th of August, 1987. Yeah, when I had that opportunity to look, see, tell the truth, and take authentic action was what Maria said to me. Look at my drinking history, see what I can see from it, tell the truth, and take authentic action. And I remember the next morning how horrible I felt. And I wasn't even an ordained minister yet, I was a minister in training. And this was brought to my attention in front of 22 other ministers who were ordained. And one of them came up to me the next morning and said, "How are you doing?" And I said, "I feel horrible. I'm mortified. I just feel awful." And she said, she looked me in the eyes and she said, "This is as bad as it gets." I'll never forget the relief I felt. Oh, wow. Wow. So the how-to, beyond prayer and meditation, and I invite you to, again, we'll do it again this week, to allow your body to be aware of what you feel in your body when you think about these concepts, when you think about those roles you played, to really find it in your body and be present to it. So that's the prayer and meditation part, the mindfulness. But here's the way Maria sets the coaching arena, she calls it. The first question she asks is, who am I willing to be in order to produce an extraordinary result out of this interaction or situation? And then she has a list of ways of being. But the ones that, to me, are pertinent to this series of messages is being creative. I'm willing to be creative, therefore a creator, right? I'm willing to be empowering, to be a challenger. I'm willing to be supportive and truthful, to be a coach, okay? That's the first question. Who am I willing to be in this situation? The second question is, am I willing to systematically dismantle my structure of knowing? Whew, that's a big one. So, am I willing to systematically dismantle my structure of knowing? But the two I want you to remember are, am I willing to be a demand for coaching? Do you know what that means? It means being a sponge. A sponge demands the water, right? So am I willing to be a demand for coaching? And the fourth one, am I willing to guarantee that whoever coaches me will be successful? Wow, that's the big one. Am I willing to guarantee that whoever coaches me will be successful? And then there's something that Maria calls the green lens. I call it the coach lens. And that is, especially if we're tempted to be a rescuer, to make these statements to ourselves. This person is a hero, whole and complete. This person has goals and dreams and a desire to make a difference. This person has their own answers, just like your mother does. This person is contributing to me right now. This person deserves to be treated with dignity and respect. It takes a lot to be a coach. But you know what? We can do it. We just have to make that shift from being a rescuer to being a coach, for ourselves as well as for others. So I celebrate your shift. I celebrate my shift from being a rescuer to being a coach, to supporting, assisting, and facilitating your creator self or the creator self of another in clarifying and manifesting a desired outcome. And to wrap up the whole series, I also celebrate our shift from being a victim to being a creator, from persecuting others to challenging others, and from seeing persecutors as challengers. That's the big one. Can I take this person who I feel is persecuting me, and can I reframe it and find a way of seeing how they're challenging me instead? And let's begin to do that right now in a sacred time of shared prayer. So I invite you to reflect on rescuer, the rescuers in your life, or yourself as a rescuer. And just take a moment to notice what's going on in your body as you perhaps try to justify being a rescuer. What it feels like when someone tries to rescue you with that subtle message of, I don't believe you can do it yourself, so I'm going to help you do it. Where do you feel that in the body? Just notice the breath. Are you breathing a little faster, a little bit more shallow? Is your heart beating a little faster? Is your stomach clenching? Or perhaps are you feeling relaxed and comfortable? Just simply notice whatever you're feeling in the body. And then simply connect the belief and the thoughts expressed in today's message with your own body's action. When we do this, we're allowing for a small transformation of that belief system. And so let's allow that small transformation of that belief system, that structure of knowing, as Maria would call it. So allow its transformation to happen by just focusing on the sensations in the body, in the silence. And as we gently bring our attention back to this time and place, allow gratitude to fill your heart and mind as you silently say, "Thank you, Creator, I am. Thank you, Challenger, I am. Thank you, Coach, I am, for my awareness of the possibility of a new future through every small transformation of beliefs that block my awareness of who I really can be when I have the sense of power, when I know who I am, when I know I am Creator, I am Challenger, I am Coach." Thank you, thank you, thank you. That it is so, and so it is, and so I am.